we're going to go straight into the first point that we want to talk about, which is cholesterol and its importance. First thing we're going to ask is, what is cholesterol? We don't want to take it for granted that everybody is aware of what cholesterol is. But yeah, what is cholesterol when we say cholesterol?
Okay, so it is a specific type of fat
Mhm.
that is produced by the liver.
All right. Simply put, cholesterol is a fat, a waxy substance that is in the body produced by our own body. So that's probably going to be news to some people, because whenever we talk about cholesterol, people think that, hey, if cholesterol is good, if your body is producing cholesterol, then why should we be concerned about cholesterol? But yes, newsflash, cholesterol is made by our own bodies. Of course, we can get external sources, but the basic premise of cholesterol, understanding about cholesterol, is that we ourselves, we need cholesterol. And because we need it, we make cholesterol, apart from the fact that we eat cholesterol. So that is what cholesterol is.
Yeah, so like you're saying, the body produces most of the cholesterol that we need, and we also get it from some foods, like we can get cholesterol from eggs, from cheese, and all other sources. So, and from like fatty meats and all the good stuff out there. So our body produces cholesterol already. So sometimes we don't even need the external sources like the other things being added on, because our body produces it. But we can also get cholesterol from other sources, like through diet.
All right, so that is what cholesterol is. And as she said, we make our own cholesterol. So don't be an enemy of cholesterol from today, or be a cholesterol's friend. Uh, all right, so now with that out of the way, then let's move on straight to, I think, what next we want to talk about. What are the importance? Just briefly, if our body makes it, then I think that we have to probably have use for it, right? And so, what are some of the importance of cholesterol? Briefly, again, cholesterol. Let me just
Go
start.
ahead. Yeah.
Cholesterol is a component of our cells. It's a major component in our cell membranes. So basically, our cells, every cell has a boundary, or if I should say, a wall. We refer to wall when we talk about plant cells, but I'm using this as an analogy. So every cell, if you have a home, you have a boundary line, you have your wall around your house, right? That makes your unique place of dwelling yours. And then another neighbor will also be following. So the boundary between one neighbor and the other neighbor is your wall. And when it comes to human beings, or animals for that matter, our boundaries are our cell membranes. In plants, it's a cell wall. And the component that keeps this boundary very good, able to allow certain things to come in and out, your gates for, entry and exit and all that. That boundary is what we call the cell membrane. And that boundary is made, for the most part, by cholesterol. So that is why cholesterol is very important. That's why we make it. So if we are going to make new cells, then we're going to need cholesterol in some sort.
Yeah. So in other words, if we need this cells to function very well, it's likely that we need this cholesterol, which will make the cell really act properly and function well. So we cannot just, sometimes you hear the word cholesterol and you're like, oh my God, what's my level? It's too high. Like we talk about knowing your numbers, right? So like you hear cholesterol and you're all worried. Today we are really unveiling what cholesterol is. So we need that cholesterol in order for our cell membranes to work properly and function very well. Another important thing about cholesterol is also it's also synthesized hormones. So we have the testosterone, we have the estrogen, we have the cortisol. All that is something that our body needs to function, and cholesterol help in forming such hormones in our bodies.
My goodness, that's important. So if you don't have cholesterol and you are a woman, you will be lacking estrogen if you don't have enough cholesterol. In the same way, if you don't have enough cholesterol and you're a guy, you'll be lacking your own masculine hormones too. and any other hormone that you can think of. Cholesterol forms the basic unit, the basic component of most of these chemicals in our body, especially the transport chemicals. Or signaling chemicals, I should say. And so you need cholesterol. And then once you have the cholesterol, the body will change it to a hormone when you need those hormones made. So cell membranes and then also signaling chemicals like hormones. So that's very important stuff about cholesterol. So don't be always against cholesterol from today until we hit the bad part of cholesterol, right? All right. So I think with that, we can go on to the next one, right? So, what is the next thing on our outline? So, we are talking about types of cholesterol now. Types of cholesterol. And we start. The first one is what we all know as bad cholesterol. Everybody has heard about bad cholesterol. He's got a bad name. But yes, it is our brother LDL. Come on, man. That is bad cholesterol. And there's another kind.
Yeah, so can you explain what the LDS stand for?
Okay, so LDL is low density lipoprotein.
Protein.
Low density lipoprotein. So lipoproteins carry the cholesterols themselves, and LDL is low dense, doesn't carry a lot of cholesterol. So if you have a lot of LDLs, you have a lot of cholesterol attached to that lipoprotein, and it is the bad one because there's a lot of them.
Okay.
And
We also have the HDL,
the HDL.
the high density lipoprotein. That's the good cholesterol.
That's a good cholesterol. Before we actually go there, when we have too much LDL, this is what happens. So the low density lipoprotein, because they are not particularly good for you, when they accumulate, what makes them bad actually is that they begin to accumulate and pile up in form of plaques in your arteries. So assuming this is an artery that we are looking at right on the side of your screen, this artery in the bottom is very clear. There's no yellow substance. Cholesterol or LDLs are the yellow substances there. And so initially there's nothing there. But then as time goes on, when your LDL is a lot, you have a lot of LDL or your bad cholesterol volume has increased beyond measure, then they begin to accumulate in your veins or in your arteries, and that makes your arteries begin to close up. And that's the reason why we call them as bad forms of cholesterol. All right, so now with that, I think we can go on to the HDL.
The HDL is the good cholesterol, like we said earlier. And I think these are the sources of
Some of them. Yeah.
some of them that we can get from the foods that we can get this HDL from. And I think the caveat here is the L, which is the bad cholesterol. The low is supposed to be lower numbers in your system.
My goodness, that's
Right.
nitpicking.
And the H, which is the high HDL, the H should be higher. So the numbers, if you are looking at your numbers, if you see that you have a high cholesterol with the HDL, that is a good thing. And
If you have high HDL,
HDL,
okay,
high cholesterol, HDL
high
specifically,
HDL cholesterol.
right, that is the good cholesterol. That is something that is encouraged, that you should keep your HDL high. And the L, which is the low DL, the
density.
LDL is the one that you want to keep it low.
Low.
So the H and the L should give you a clue which one is supposed to be high and which one is supposed to be low.
My goodness, you made this up. You made this up, and it works out so perfect. I never memorized it like that in
That way,
school.
yeah.
Yeah, so HDL is high density lipoprotein, and she's giving us a trick to remember. HDL, it means that you need high amount of dose to have a good cholesterol, right? And then the low density cholesterol, which is LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. She said that because it begins with an L, you make sure that part is low. So if you check your lab work and the numbers, you see LDL, make sure that the L stands for it should be low. And so you keep it low, right? And then the ones that are HDL, you keep it high. Definitely. That is good. That's a good way to remember that. Now, let's see the other form of fatty substance in our body. Remember, we talked about the fact that cholesterol is a waxy, fatty substance in our body, right? There's a third one. It's not technically a cholesterol, it's also a fatty something. We call that triglycerides. And those together with your cholesterol levels, with your HDL and LDL, and of course your total cholesterol, will dictate or will tell whether or not you have good heart health or your cardiovascular health is on point. So we have talked about LDL, we talked about HDL, and now we just mentioned triglycerides or TGs. All three things are important predictors of your heart health. And that is what it's up. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah. So can you say like uh, the total
Cholesterol.
cholesterol in your system comprises of the low, the LDL, the HDL, and the total glycerin, right? The
The
triglycerides.
triglycerides, yes. So your total cholesterol comprises of those three things that she mentioned. If you have a lab and you're watching, that's the meaning of your total cholesterol. All right, so now let's go back to our presentation and see what is next there. And now we're going to talk about the role of cholesterol in your brain health. We will wrap up. Today is going to be a short one. Like I'm saying, it's an introductory episode for the entire season. So, what are the roles of cholesterol in brain health? Remember, we said we said something small about the importance of cholesterol, but here is a major part of cholesterol in our body in brain health. Yeah. So, according to sources, the brain, total matter of brain, total matter of cells, in your brain, cholesterol is accounting for about 25% of them. So if you see this little coconut, the brain that is there has 25, basically a quarter of the brain matter in human beings is made of cholesterol. So cholesterol is a pretty good guy, except that sometimes they can trick us, and because of that, if your cholesterol levels are so low, you're going to have cognitive issues. Your brain wiring, your brain signal is going to be messed up because you don't have enough to make brain cells, or you don't have enough to maintain your already existing brain cells that needs to be replaced because cells die and new ones have to be made. So if your cholesterol levels are not on point, then your brain can suffer, and it will also show in your cognitive or your memory or your brain functions to be precise. So that is that for that point. And I think there's more.
Yeah, so we talk about the brain memory, right? So we have the structure and the function. So in order for the structure, the cell to really work very well, for your memory to be on point, you need cholesterol.
You need cholesterol.
So sometimes if your liver is producing and you have another source to supplement it because you need it for your brain to function very well, you have to look into these sources of foods that contain this good cholesterol that we are talking about because you really need for your brain to really function very well.
All right, all right. And like she said, the structure and function. So the neurons, the cells in the brain have connections here and there. And if you see a brain cell, we didn't have time to bring an example of a brain cell. I have images of those. But if you see the brain connections, it's like long lines of connections and all surrounding. Remember, we talked about the cell membrane made of cholesterol. So the membranes of these long neurons, dendrites and neurons and all those things in the brain are made of cholesterol. So you need cholesterol, sufficient amounts of cholesterol to have, function and proper structure in your brain. This makes it very important, especially for children, developing children, right?
Yes.
They need cholesterol to develop or build their brain matter because they are growing. They need to eat cholesterol. And Gifty was careful. She said that the good cholesterol, you can't have them binge on just the LDLs, but on the good part of cholesterol so that they can make their brain matter and they can develop well in terms of cognitive function and memory and all those things so that they will become very good. So that is important in brain function, cholesterol, especially in children and also, of course, the old who need to replace older brain cells.
And sometimes too, we find that older folks really not having good cognitive function. So can we say that you can lower your cholesterol to a level that your brain is not really functioning very well?
Yes, I think you can if you are overly aggressive. Right now, some people even don't believe in the fact that we should take cholesterol lowering medications. That's a whole topic for another video. We believe, that's how we make money. We believe that you need to take medications. So, not just because that's how we make money. We are professionals who try to advocate that people take their medicine, but I can remove myself from my profession and be honest. There's no way, no how people can say that, oh, it's not right. You don't take cholesterol medications. These pharmaceutical companies, they are in to get you, bro. It's not true. It's not true. There are countless amounts of research that have shown that excessive amounts of cholesterol can be hurtful. Now, now, going to Gifty's question, some people, because of that, can do it extremely. Make sure that their cholesterol is so low because they are so afraid of getting a heart attack. They're afraid of getting heart disease, a stroke, and so they make sure that no cholesterol at all. No, that is not good. And the opposite is also not good.
Right.
People who say that just eat everything, they are lying to you. They're just trying to make money off you. They are also very wrong. So, like she said, you have to strike a balance. It's cholesterol is like adding, making a recipe, right? You need some butter in your recipe. If the butter is there, if you take too much butter, it will spoil it. It will not be healthy. But then the little amount of butter that is required, if you put it there, you see the flavor. Come on, man. That is how cholesterol is. So too much of it will be bad. But without it, the
can
food won't
function.
taste good. Yes. So that is where this balance has to be stricken. You know, um, just strike a balance, and do what you got to do, especially when you're being taken care of by a qualified professional like a doctor or APRN or a pharmacist, whoever is taking care of you. If they tell you this is when you need, please do it. Don't be like you're judging the drug companies. They don't need you to prosper. They already made it. And just take care of yourself in that regard. All right. So let's see if there's anything else on that part of the. Yeah. And I think we mentioned that we need cholesterol for maintenance
Yeah.
of our brain health. Apart from the children who are developing, for the old folks, because we are killing our brain cells by the environment and also by aging. We need
Right.
to,
It just die off on its own, right?
yes,
Yeah.
because
So
of
your age.
aging. And so you need to rebuild more. So if you have good amount of cholesterol, you can make those up. And actually, because remember we said cholesterol is also used to make hormones. This is why sometimes even men, when you are getting older, you need to get testosterone shots. Some men have low T, something we call low testosterone. And if your cholesterol is very low, you are going to be prone to have low testosterone because you don't have what it takes to make testosterone. Remember, cholesterol comes as a basic unit that is used for hormones. So cholesterol is, in fact, it's pretty good, except that sometimes because of the way we eat these days as modern man, in the olden days when God made us and we were rolling with the animals in the fields and working hard and eating what we needed to eat. Our cholesterol, we didn't need to take any cholesterol medication because we were not taking too much cholesterol in. We were just making what we need. But now we are making our own cholesterol, and then we are adding a lot from our foods that we eat. And so our LDLs, our bad cholesterol levels, are over the roof. And of course, some people have a condition that also makes them make more of the bad cholesterol themselves. So they may not even eat it, but they are making it themselves. It's a genetic condition, and those people also need to be taken care of. Yeah, and that makes me actually remember something. You know how pregnant people, pregnant women are told if you're on cholesterol medication and you're pregnant, most of the time you are told to stop your medication while you're pregnant. The reason is that they don't want your baby to not have good brain development because the cholesterol synthesis will stop and the brain cannot be made because the cells need cholesterol to make all those brain matter. And so we'll tell you to stop taking your cholesterol medication if you are pregnant. That is the reason you need cholesterol for brain matter. Is there anything else you want to add to it?
No, you can.
All right. In that case, I think we are close to the end. Let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about some of the myths of cholesterol, some of the myths, some of the misconceptions that people have about cholesterol. And the first one is that people say all cholesterol is harmful.
Mm.
I think we already explained not all cholesterol because we talked about the types of cholesterols, right?
Yes. So not all cholesterol is harmful, right? So we have the good ones and the bad ones. The bad ones is harmful because you don't want it too much in your system. The reason being that it can clog your arteries and it can block the flow of blood, and that can lead to stroke and all the heart attacks. So you want to lower the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL, and we have the good one, the good cholesterol, which is the high, which is the HDL. So not all cholesterol is harmful.
Not all cholesterol is harmful, and actually, as we are going to find out in the future episodes on this season 3, we're going to talk about some of the foods that have or that contain very healthy sources of HDL, the good cholesterol.
Yeah.
That is going to happen on this show. So that should tell you that there are not all cholesterol is bad. The only bad cholesterol is LDL and higher amounts of triglycerides. Triglycerides are good for energy sources, but also if you take too much, if you have too much triglycerides, then your heart also becomes compromised. You begin to go into the realms of heart disease. So again, moderation in everything is what we're going to be looking at. So that is the thing. Not all cholesterol is bad. Not all cholesterol is bad. Now let's see the next myth. The next myth is that eating cholesterol raises cholesterol. It sounds like three, right?
But the question will be, what kind of cholesterol?
That's the key. My
Right?
goodness.
What kind of cholesterol are you eating?
What kind of cholesterol are you eating? If you want to proceed, if you are eating all the LDL cholesterol sources of food, I'm trying to see if I can actually get you some of the diets that have those things. If you are eating all the LDL cholesterol sources, if you are eating fried foods, then you are taking in more refined cholesterol that is bad for you. Because look, you are eating the bad cholesterol. All these things that you see that we call unhealthy diets contain huge amounts of cholesterol. And in fact, even when you eat starchy foods to the extent that it's too much, your body turns them into fat. And fat can also be used to make bad cholesterol because you have to make cholesterol yourself. And so it depends on the source of the food or the type of cholesterol that you are eating. If you eat good, healthy cholesterol, like something from fish, oh, you're going to be good, man. You can eat all the fat from this fish, and you're actually going to be better in terms of your heart health because you're going to increase your HDL level because it's a good source of cholesterol. But if you don't, and then you stick to the fries and the the chicken wings and the the skin of chicken and all those stuff that are not good for you, then of course your cholesterol is going to go up. So that point is important. That yes, not all cholesterol that you eat can raise your cholesterol levels. If you eat the right cholesterol amount and sources like the HDL, your cholesterol is going to go up, but it's going to be the good ones going up. And so stay put, because we are going to consider all those sources in subsequent shows. We're going to talk about 11 shows where we're going to talk about just about cholesterol. So we're going to hit on all those points. Anything else
Yeah,
there?
that's going
All right. So let's see if there's any more. The last one, I think, is only fat people have high cholesterol. Oh my goodness. Only fat people have high cholesterol. And that, again, is a false pretense, because somebody is fat, or because they have belly fat, because they have a lot of fat, adipose tissue, fat in their waistline and all that, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have high cholesterol. That is the truth. You may be fat, you may have a lot of fat stored, but there may not be huge sums of LDL in your blood. It is most likely that it will happen.
right. Yes. The chance of having high cholesterol will be higher.
Yes,
Right.
your chance of having high cholesterol when you're fat is high, but it doesn't mean that the person, the flip is the key here. The person who is skinny, it does not mean you are automatically going to have low cholesterol or good cholesterol, and that is where the key is. Yes, potentially a fat person may have high cholesterol, not always though, but most of the time. But it does not mean that because you are skinny or your weight is good, your cholesterol level is good. That is not the key. I've seen people in our practice who are definitely of a lower weight set, skinny like me, and yet they have to actually be on medication to control their bad cholesterol levels because of a genetic condition that we will get into in future shows. Hypercholesterolemia. They are making too much because their genes are
Their
predisposed
genes. Yeah.
to make too much of the bad cholesterol. So you may be skinny, it doesn't mean that your cholesterol level is going to be low. So
Yeah.
that is,
So in other words, you cannot look at a person and judge whether they have high cholesterol level or low cholesterol level. You cannot look at the person and judge. The only way that you can find out is to visit your doctor, and the doctor can do a simple blood work order, and you will know the numbers. So just looking at the person, you cannot judge that the person has high cholesterol level or not.
My goodness, that's very important. Very important. Just like you cannot look at somebody and tell that they have HIV or not, especially these days when medications are rampant. You can't just go and say that, oh, that person's not skinny, everything looks good, so they don't have HIV. No, that's not true. In the same way, you cannot look at somebody and say that because they are skinny, they don't have high cholesterol. Or you cannot say that because you're eating right, you don't have high cholesterol. Because you may eat right, all right. But remember, cholesterol, it's not just from what you eat, it's from what you make. So if you make it too much, you could still have high cholesterol. That is why we always tell you on this show that do not leave things to chance. Make sure that your annual checkups are on point, and drill to your doctor's head that, hey, I got to know my numbers. I got to know my blood glucose level. I got to know my blood cholesterol level, and I got to know my blood pressure. These numbers I have to know whether I'm fit or not, so that you won't stay home and say that I don't get sick, as some people say. As for me, the whole year I never got sick, and you're proud. Thank God you never got sick. Yeah. It doesn't mean that everything is working out right inside the body, though. And the only way to find that out is to go for your annual visits and make sure that they check you and tell you the numbers are good. When they tell you the numbers are good, then come share with us on the stream and say that, hey, doc, I went and my numbers are perfect. And then we will celebrate with you. All right.
I think another scary thing too, like you said, you have to go to your doctor and know your numbers.
Labs, yeah.
There are no symptoms of having
that's a very good
cholesterol, because sometimes blood pressure, some people will be like, oh, I I become a little lightheadedness, right, or kicking. I feel dizzy.
Headache.
I have headache, and they'll be like, "Oh, check your blood pressure," right? But for this high cholesterol, you don't feel anything. It doesn't make you weaker or anything. The only time that they will know that you have high cholesterol level is when maybe heart attack hit or stroke hit, and then they will do the blood work to know that, oh, it's because of the high cholesterol in your system. That's why you ended up with a stroke or heart disease or heart attack. So you don't feel it. And the way that the plaques are formed in your arteries is slowly,
It's
because
quiet.
it's quite very quiet. So it sneak up on you. By the time that you realize, you realize that, yeah, like it's so high. So the best way to attack this is to go to your doctor and know the numbers and know the difference between the LDL and the HDL, and which one you can boost so that it helps, and which one you should lower so that it can help you control cholesterol levels in your system.
My goodness. I like that. That's a very, very important point to throw in there before we close, actually. That there is no warning. And even for the blood pressure, some people don't even feel
Feel
anything.
anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people, they are lucky and they'll be like, oh, I'm lightheaded, I have headache. And when I went and they said my pressure was, some
That's
people,
high.
you
Yeah.
don't feel anything.
Anything.
And so feeling before you go to the doctors is no longer the way
It may
to
be
go.
too late,
It may be
right?
too late. When you feel and you go, it means that things have been going on for years. And finally now it's caught up to you and the symptoms are showing. See, this picture that we are showing, this is a cholesterol plaque that is in somebody's artery. Look at how deep this artery may be in your body. You're not going to feel it when it starts building up. There's no way you're going to feel it. The only time you feel it is if the entire artery is almost blocked and blood cannot go, and then you are struggling to catch your breath. Sometimes you don't even know, and then they do a test and they're like, oh my goodness, you got a lot. And some people, they have to do an angioplasty
Wow.
just to open up your arteries for blood to flow because the
flow.
cholesterol has built up so much. So, folks, do not wait until that symptom happens because it could be too late. The key is that visit your providers. Annual visits just demand that they do those labs for you, those three things, and we'll drill that to your head until this season is over. Your blood cholesterol, your blood glucose, and your blood pressure. You got to know those numbers. And we are starting with cholesterol in this season 3. And we hope you're going to roll with us as we move forward. I think we are probably done. I'm not sure if there's anything else to share. Is there any last minute thing you want to add? Or?
No, I think we're good.
All right. So in that case, we want to remind you that next week we are going to continue in the same line. Let me see if there's anything here. We're going to continue in the same way that we have begun on this season. We're going to talk about your cholesterol and your health in season 3. So the first episode is down. We have introduced you to it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put it on the comments or however you do it. Some people have some other ways. You want to email us, you go to our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, and follow through and share with us. But the easiest way is to comment and type in your question so that we will roll together. Also, call other people and let us do this program together because many young people are going through serious stuff. A lot of strokes among young people because we think that stroke is for the old, and yet our cholesterol levels are going higher and higher as young people because of our diets compared to what it used to be some years ago. And so that is
And I think sometimes we say that, oh, this person was so healthy. He was just walking around yesterday. I even saw her or him yesterday, and nothing seems wrong with him. But I think the question that we have to ask is, instead of us saying, oh, there was nothing wrong with him, we have to ask, what was the level of the cholesterol?
what was their cholesterol level?
Yes.
What was
So,
wrong with them?
yes. So it's not just the person walking around healthy. We have to really take care of ourselves and really get to know what's happening in our body, in our system, and make the right choices.
My goodness, that's a wonderful show right there. So we are going to hit a show on this point that We want you to be here on Sunday, same time. Invite people and let us learn about cholesterol and your health. We're going to teach you what to eat to get your good cholesterol up, what exercises to do to get your good cholesterol up, what to avoid. And also, we're going to a host of things. In fact, I'm going to actually share the outline of our episodes on our Facebook channel, and you can follow and see what is coming up next on the Life and Health Show. So until we see you next week, what we will say is, beloved,
we
wish
wish
above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thanks for watching.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.